Hello and welcome to the LongBox Paradox, episode 102. I am Dan at Comic Shop News, and I am, as always, joined by Jennifer. Comics Will Break Your Heart on YouTube, or Comic Books Will Break Your Heart on Instagram. And thank you, everybody, for joining us after a very long and exhausting week.
It really has been a very long and exhausting week. Even this morning, I woke up and I'm like, man, it's like, seriously, I was like, it's going to be such a long week. I don't know if I can do the show on Saturday. And I woke up and I heard some pretty fucking good news. And yeah.
We're going to have 2 weeks of trials, though, and I'm sure.
Let there be recounts, but because I'm okay with drinking those tears in twice. So, let's do a recount because I'm okay hearing that news twice.
Also, I wanted to say thank you, not that he's watching, to our guest from this past election night, Steve Orlando. Fantastic guest, and I'm going to say now friend of the show because he wants to come back with his other writer to promote one of his other books.
Yeah.
It was a very long but informative hour and a half. We hit like every subject. We got political. We talked about queer representation.
Yeah. My favorite part, I mean, obviously I'm biased because I asked about it because, we talk about diversity and representation in comics, and 100% Steve Orlando is bringing it with these stories, and people see any diversity, any representation other than like cis straight white male, and they're like, this is forced diversity. And I'm here to tell you, no one was forcing Steve Orlando to do any of this diversity, so it wasn't forced.
We also talked about how to deal with online trolls.
Yeah.
Like what's worth your time and what isn't. Again, we've lucked out with two creators that have been like talkers, like Ronnie Barnes just gave and gave and gave, and Steve Orlando is just amazing and pulled back the curtain a little bit about DC and the cancellation numbers.
Yeah.
Just fantastic guest to have on. Coming later this month, we have a packed house now for the Sandman Book Club with, in our chat, John's Comics with Kids. We have Nat, the Comic Queen, with us. We will have Cartoon Sid from the Dune Over with us. And have you talked to Mars yet?
I think I talked about it, but I haven't confirmed. So we'll see. Hopefully,
and, as always, our co-host Gambit, because that's his once a month show with us. Except for the Steve Orlando one, he's like, he wrote Lobo, I'm on.
Yeah. And I'm hopefully we'll be able to really get at a packed house. I'm just going to go ahead and say, because my last pick of the month, we got the creator to be on. So I'm pretty sure we're going to do it again, and we're going to get Neil Gaiman on. That's my
you better start working on tweeting.
That's my campaign right now, and I'm going to try to pull a birthday win out of it because my birthday is, I'm a November baby, so November baby. So I want to be like, join me for my birthday.
Also, friend of the show, Andrew, Comic Book Campaign. Check out his website. He's selling comics pretty cheap, ratio variants. He's kind of opened his own store by himself that's online. So go check it out. He's selling crossover right now for $1 a copy, limit 2. Yeah. So go check him out. Again, his ratios, he's selling below ratio. So yeah, just go check it out. Buy some books. He's a great dude. Everything I've bought from him has been pristine and packed well.
Yeah, even so, a lot of the stuff that he sells, and he and I have talked about this. A lot of the stuff that he sells, he'll do. It sounds like he's going to be doing every 2 weeks, or he has his monthly boxes, and then some other stuff. And I have to get my comics the week of, if not the day of. This week was a little bit different. I didn't get my comics until last night, where normally I would always get them on Wednesday. However, the stuff on his website, there was a couple things recently where I'm like, ooh, let me just go ahead and order that. It's not something that I would normally get. And he's just Andrew's fantastic. So check him out on Comic Book Campaign.
And of course, John's Comics with Kids. Check out his show. on Saturdays. And also go check out his blog on Comic Tom 101 that is very X-Men centric. This week it was how they will fit into the MCU. The week before was X of Swords, Ten of Swords theories. And just a great guy in general, and go check out his work. And of course, Rob Bacon.
Oh, of course. Oh, and hey, so Rod's in the chat. Hello. So I do just want to go ahead and say, because John's Comics with his kids is like my favorite. I mean, other than maybe this show, is my favorite Saturday watch. I also I freaking love comics. So anyways, like there's just a lot of stuff that I love to watch on Saturdays. But seriously, like, John is okay. So seriously, like watching John and his kids every Saturday morning, like I literally woke up at 8 o'clock this morning and I'm like, I'm not going back to bed because I have to catch this show. And this morning, his daughters are talking, and they obviously, like, John, you're raising them right because they're talking about comics. And no joke, my favorite moment of his show this morning was his daughter Charlie was like, Cyclops is a douchebag. And like my heart just like grew 1,000 sizes bigger, which isn't saying much because it's it's really small, so it's like whatever. But to hear her say that, like, that was amazing. So thank you for gold like that, John. I love your show.
I'll get worried if she starts picking up Wolverine lingo from the early X-Men issues where she starts calling other women frail.
Yeah.
Hey, frail. John was talking about that in issue 101 when the X-Men Omnibus. Where where is also a great show with No Good Comics.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Okay, so let's dive into this week's books.
Really quick,
yes.
I apologize because sometimes we do take a moment to go through like comic book news, and one of the things that I really just wanted to highlight that was a beautiful moment in this really weird, anxious week for me was that
his daughters are here.
Yeah. I seriously, like, you guys are amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait to see like what you guys keep doing. So anyways, one of my favorite gold nuggets of news from this week was that Grant Morrison has come out as non-binary. So for anyone who
doesn't surprise me, like it's just like
it
doesn't, to me.
But it makes so much sense. And he mentioned being genderqueer, and he's always kind of like, they have always expressed themselves in different ways, and so like this is just really cool. But the funniest thing to me is because I read the article on CBR, and the headline was Green Lantern writer Grant Morrison comes out as non-binary, and the weirdest part, I'm like, I don't know him from Green Lantern, or I don't know them from Green Lantern. I know them from like a million other things. Like, how is Grant Morrison known for Green Lantern? Like,
so he's currently on. That's the only reason.
I mean, I get that, but at the same time, whatever. So some really cool news, Grant Morrison, and I deeply apologize. I'm working on pronouns, so congratulations, Grant Morrison, for having the courage to come out. So that's amazing.
Hello, Charlie.
Just wanted to say that. Oh, yay, Charlie! Okay, yay. So awesome. Really appreciate you guys being here. You guys are like literally, you ladies are like the highlight of my Saturday morning. So I'm gonna try to keep it PG. I apologize in advance. But apparently I don't have to worry because Charlie, your moment this morning was amazing.
So as we've consistently been starting with X of Swords or Ten of Swords.
Yeah. Ten of Swords.
So Apocalypse keeps giving me feels, and I don't know what to do with this. Like these emotions he's triggering in me.
So yeah, in this first issue, it was very did I get this right? Okay, part 12. So yeah, it started with part 12, which was X-Men 12. And there's this moment in the beginning where he's talking to his wife, And there's this
So
sweet,
that
sweet.
first page when he's standing under the tree, in my head, I had a needle drop moment where they're playing "Wake Me When September Ends" by Green Day.
Oh, I see that. I there's a couple things that like came through my brain, and I feel like they are gearing up to make Apocalypse a Magneto type character, where initially Magneto 100% is a villain, but I think as you grow as an adult, and sometimes you learn that like certain people are made to be villains for a certain reason. I really feel like they're going to do this turn where we're sympathizing with Apocalypse, and I really think that we're going to gravitate towards Apocalypse the way we gravitate towards Magneto, and specifically with this moment where Apocalypse and Genesis are like talking under the tree. They have this really sweet moment, but I feel like I got Thanos vibes
A
from.
little bit.
I'm like thinking about him in death, and especially in this issue because we see him talking to Genesis, and she kind of like leaves him at the end, like walks away in a bitter way, and that's totally some stuff that Death would pull on Thanos. So
So
I loved
the,
this.
I got the East to West vibe here during this one part. So when
Yes.
Genesis goes, "So you're a man of peace now. Have you fallen so far?" And he just turns to like, "You're wielding the Twilight Blade. Who again is it here that's fallen?" And she's like, "What? This thing?" Yeah.
Yep. 100% those. To me, Jonathan Hickman will always be East of West. That was my introduction to him 10 years ago when he started writing East of West. And there's even a couple moments where and especially in this issue, where we get this the Hickman dump, trademark the Hickman dump, but we get it in a more story fashion. Like normally when I think about the Hickman dump, it's kind of like he's just info dumping all of this information in like a graphic format. So we
Piecemeal
see,
this time.
yeah. And so this way it was definitely a lot more story oriented, where they go through, Genesis, a little bit more of Genesis
It was her
backstory.
POV of how
Yes.
things happen instead of the High Summoner when he was telling.
Yeah.
Um, there is a sweet moment with no words where they are under the tree and they put the swords down. She's like, "Then come, my love, walk with me," and they walk hand in hand. I'm like, you feel the setup coming.
You do. I'm curious to see. Hey guys, I have a special visitor. Oh hey. So I think that I don't know if they're setting us up for tragedy or for man, this cat is huge. And he wanted to join. He's the star of the show, you guys.
John and I
But
were kicking theories in chat back at each other after reading these two issues, so we'll go into them afterward. But
buddy.
Genesis is such a badass. Like,
Oh my goodness, she really is, and I hope that we get a series of just Genesis. I know that the editors, and I know Jonathan Hickman, I know you watch this show. So since you're head of X, head of 10, whatever the fuck you want to be called, please, a Genesis story, please and thank you. Please don't kill Genesis.
also in this issue, they go into the white sword, the guy who carries purity, who basically he resurrected his 100 every day, and it warped him.
Yep.
Very interesting.
Yeah. What was I thinking? Sorry, my brain was kind of going into the next one, into issue 13 of the 10 of Swords, which is going to be, what was it? Marauders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of this issue, I just will say, like, Genesis kind of looks back at him. They're both holding their swords, and she's walking away, and she goes, "I will soon see what Krakoa has to offer and what you, my love, have to offer as well." And it's just so foreboding.
100%. And I think that's where I really got the Thanos vibes, because of his relationship with death in the comic books. We don't get to see that in the movies. That's a big point of contention for me. However, I just love her. I think that she's going to do great things.
there are some of these contestants on Araco, so which after Archaeo, when we finish talking about Marauders, I'll go into yours and mine theory, John, because we both have a person on the side that we think are going to turn. Okay, Marauders, very Storm-centric issue.
Mm-hmm. Storm and is it Death?
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, because that's who we see dancing on the cover. However, that's kind of at the end of the issue. But I feel like the character who had the most shining moments in here, because we get to see all of like kind of all the characters come together for what's her name's little feast. But I really feel like there's two people where their character really shined, and that is
Gorgon and Magic.
Magic and Wolverine, because like ultimately they go to this party and Wolverine's first line is, "I fucking hate parties," and I'm like, okay, very on brand for Wolverine, like thank you. But then there's these really just, I love how sassy Magic is, and there's a couple moments. What does she say? She's like, there are no assigned seats at medieval times, and this place is a lot shittier than medieval times, or medieval times is a lot fancier than this shithole, something like that. And I'm like, I love Magic's sassiness. Just give me all of that always.
Also, they're walking in, and the dinosaur, she's like, the card's not edible. That monster's a moron.
I think that, who says it, but they're like, that monster's good. That this alligator crocodile dude, whatever, is gonna be trouble. There's also a moment between, maybe I'm skipping a little bit too far ahead, but there's this moment but with Magic and what's the other guy's name, where they're looking
Gorgon.
at
Gorgon, when they're going, favors their left side, favors their right hand.
Yeah, I thought that was sneaky, but at the same time it's like almost like we knew that was going to happen.
They keep mentioning how Pod, like they're like, he's soft on the inside, not the other. And I'm like, okay.
Every monster has their weakness.
Pretty much. Wolverine's got a giant horn of mead he's drinking, like,
mm-hmm.
And then he's like trying to pick fights with Captain Britain or Avalon now.
Yeah, I thought that I don't know if it was just the way that it was drawn, whatever angle it was drawn, but they make it look like Wolverine is tall, and I'm just like, okay, are we trying to like the angle that we're doing it from? But that's just a stupid point of contention. And I want to go ahead and say hi, Kim, in the chat.
Hey, Kim. Yeah, Gorgon and Magic are trying to figure out which side Iska, the undefeated, what side she favors.
Yeah.
So like they drop their glasses and they find out she's ambidextrous.
Yeah, it was kind of clever. It was a cute moment. I felt like, and she was like, you could have just asked. So that was kind of cute.
And then they're like, what's your soft spot? And Gorgon's like, I don't know, kill as many as you can as fast as you can. I fear that woman's sword will break us.
Mm-hmm.
Then Death and Storm do a dance, very much like something out of Ready Player One.
Oh yeah, where they because there's that moment between I can't even think of the two main characters' names, but where they're dancing and they go into the thing and they're dancing around because they're almost like underwater.
Yes.
Wolverine's characterization has been solid lately, especially under Percy's pen.
Yes, Percy co-wrote this with Duggan.
Duggan, yeah.
There was some good dialogue between Death and Storm where, like, weirdly Death is kind of smitten with her and she's like, I've felt death before. We've always been close. And Wolverine gets poisoned.
Yes. Well, I think
he hasn't ingested it yet.
I was going to say because it's there and it's put onto his food, but I didn't see him actually consume it. I don't want to spoil the end of this issue because there is a huge thing that happens that to me is going to be, this did like a 180 for me maybe, where it was like, okay, there's a big twist. This puts what's going to happen in the next couple issues it's going to be completely different than what I thought it was going to be.
So we got let's see. Wow, that's weird. Marauders 15, the next Caliber or the next issues?
Mm-hmm. That is strange because,
And then Wolverine.
We just got Marauders this week, and we're getting it next week. So I'm really, I'm glad that I'm not picking up all of the titles right now, because if I was going to sort these, it'd be really hard for me to like sort. So right now, I pretty much just have the 10 of Swords, and so, yeah.
So overall, like I'd say it's probably an 8 overall, but I 100% think X-Men 14 was a 9.
Yes. 14. Yes. X-Men. Between Apocalypse and
Genesis, like I'm here for it, like all day, every day, like 100%. Like whatever Hickman's doing with like Apocalypse, just keep doing it. Like yes, and more.
Mm-hmm. More, please, because we know that he watches this show.
Oh yeah, I mean, how could he not after our wonderful spotlight we did on it?
After we did an entire episode about him and just killed it, I'm sure he loved it.
So like a Marauders 14 to me was a little bit of a weaker issue. It had its moments.
But I think it was just because X-Men was just so strong.
And you had to read that one before you got to Marauders too, which I was like, well, this is a bad like.
Yeah, maybe if it had, I mean, it could have clearly gone like they could have done Marauders and then X-Men, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, again, they were both enjoyable in their own ways.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, definitely like X-Men 14. Where now I'm just like, all right, give me more Apocalypse. Like, I'm just bring it on.
Yeah.
I would take a Genesis one shot and just have everything.
I would take a Genesis. I need Genesis to have their own series forever and ever. Thank you. Please and thank you. Are you guys excited or bummed out about the character that died coming back different eventually?
Yeah, and with the last run of issues, there was a fairly large character that just died, and I don't want to spoil it, but I'm not sure how they're going to play it out, or if they're going to leave them dead for a while until they can actually reincorporate them. I feel like there's going to be a MacGuffin.
I think that in this series there are going to be several people who die. I know that right now they can't really come back. I think that there's always going to be people that come back. They're going to do it no matter what.
Yeah, because that was I'm gonna like. The other part is I don't think they're a huge character.
Maybe. One of the thoughts, I know this is like weird for me to bring up Star Wars, but I remember when I was watching Star Wars Rogue One, I was thinking they aren't giving us these characters any type of, in my opinion, memorable background. Like, I liked the characters and I wanted them to win. Spoiler alert, they did win, but they pretty much all died in it. But there was a point in the middle of the movie and I was like, I like these characters, but I don't know enough about them for them to like get any more of a series or anything else. They're going to die at the end, and they did. So I'm very curious about how something like that is playing out in this series. Is who are the characters that I'm the least invested in? Those are the ones that's probably going to die.
Okay, so I'm going to go into what John and I were kicking around. There's so many different personalities on the Archaeo side.
Mm-hmm.
Where I 100% think Solemn is going to turn on them at some point.
Yeah.
And he's going to kill War. Because she keeps threatening that she's going to take him down. So there's backbiting. Like the guy who has Purity, the White Sword, he doesn't like them. They don't like him. Pog seems like he's a wild card. And John's guess was who's going to turn? Iska, the Undefeated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she switched sides before and she'd probably do it again.
Yep. And I'll do it again.
Yeah, like she's the wild card.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I would
telegraphing a Storm death and reboot.
I would 100%. Let's see it.
I don't. I feel like she's too big of a character to die.
But if they do like a reboot, but you know,
I 100% feel like we could see Captain Britain die.
Yeah.
Or Captain Avalon or whatever the fuck they're calling him. Not Betsy, but Brian.
Yeah, because there's Avalon and then there's Britain. One thing that I was thinking when I was reading this, was it this one? I really don't know too much about the other stuff that's going on. But there's this sword #1 that comes out in December. And you can see on the cover that we still have Fuckboy Cable. So I'm pretty sure Cable's definitely not going to die. And I was just trying to like figure out how all of that may play in. I love Fuckboy Cable.
Hey, Vigilante.
Hello!
I kind of hate that they're making ads for books and kind of ruining stuff unless it's outside or taking place at a different time. But it is what it is. So on to our regular review books.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start. I will be 100% honest and transparent. I did not get my books until last night. And so anyways, I didn't have a chance to, normally I have my whole stack. I didn't get a chance to read all of it. So if there was something new that came out this week that like I don't mention or that we don't mention, I apologize because I didn't get a lot of it. What's that?
Check your Patreon.
Did I work on it?
No, I said check your Patreon later for your thoughts on books.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because like later I'll probably do it on like all of them. So, thank you. Since I didn't have to shamelessly plug my Patreon, you can go ahead and anyways, find me on Patreon, whatever, for like thoughts on the rest of them. So the one that, this was one of the first ones that I did read was Origins. And this one almost didn't make it into my pile. However, Nick at the comic book store was, and I actually wasn't even the one who picked up my comics. My partner went to the store and picked them up for me. So like shout out there to awesome partners like that. But Nick at the store was like, hey, why didn't Jennifer pick this up? And I really enjoyed it. It's yet another post-apocalyptic story. And, we have to figure out what's going on and there's science involved. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to like spoil too much. Not that we haven't seen any, new stuff in post-apocalyptic stories, but this one was really good. And it's a limited series, which I think will help it.
What if they stole your idea for Thirst Trap as a currency? You
know what? I have a different. That's going to appear in one of my other stories that I'm working on for DC, and I'm not talking about Batman Year 18 Barely Legal.
Well, Steve Orlando stole that idea now.
Yeah. Well, he'll pitch it to DC for me, and I'll go ahead and I'll ghost write it, and he can take all the credit for it. So anyways, Origins, I really enjoyed it. It's Boom Studios. It's only going to be 6 issues, so I know it's not going to be long and drawn out, which I really appreciate. I really enjoyed Origins. So I would give it maybe a 7.5 out of 10, which is a little bit low for me. Normally, if I just love something, it's 8, 8.5, but this 7.5 is probably because I've seen a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff before, but I think this one's going to be really fun. This one also gave me, I liked the art style. It reminded me, I don't want to say of Little Bird, but I really enjoyed this. Check it out.
I have a surprising pick for one of mine.
That you enjoyed or did not enjoy?
The newest issue of Coffin Bound.
You know what? I have not read that one. That one kind of made it to the bottom of the pile because I have been a little bit underwhelmed with it.
So I'm just going to flat out say this is the best issue of the entire run.
Of the entire run, like even the first volume?
I think this is the most complete issue that we've seen story-wise and everything else. It did have a little bit of Sin City vibes to it.
Yeah, the entire series has kind of had some like Sin City vibes. But
it brought back a character we haven't seen since the first
okay.
run, and like just 100. This issue in particular engrossed me, and it felt more like a one shot, like every issue has lately.
Yeah.
Ties to nothing except for this one character showing up near the end. This is a solid 8, 100%, which is the highest I've given pretty much any issue of this book.
So this issue is issue number 8, and I believe that the first trade was 4 issues.
Yeah, and this feels like it would end it.
So this would be like the end of what volume 2 would be. Does this feel like the end of a series or just the end of a
arc, I guess, if you want to call it. Like, it just, even though none of the arc really ties together, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will be honest. So volume 1 of Coffin Bound.
Yeah, volume 2 out on December 2nd.
Okay. So volume 1 of Coffin Bound was hands down one of my favorite series. I don't know if you would call it last year or this year, because I think the trade came out earlier this year, but the single issues were coming out last year. Coffin Bound was easily just one of the best stories that I have read. I went to go read the issues of like what the volume 2 arc would be and was so disappointed. So it warms my heart to hear that we finally, because seriously, the issues for this arc that would be collected in volume 2 felt so underwhelming compared to the previous issues.
Also, they didn't tie together, so like every issue is just like, why? What's the point of this? Like, why are we here?
I ask myself that a lot when reading comics. Like I was reading Scumbag and I'm like, why are we here? I read 3 Jokers. Why are we here? So that's something I ask myself a lot.
To jerk off to Brian Bolland and Alan Moore. That's why we're here.
There we go. Yeah. Yep.
Your next one.
Oh shit, that's me. So another one, and I know that we're both going to talk about this because we both read it, and I know that we both have different feelings about this book, but whatever. I really liked it, and it's crossover. I know you're like, meh, whatever, but I think that...
Oh, I'm way stronger than that now after a second read.
Way stronger that you hate it or that you love it?
We'll get there.
Okay. I feel like I was a little bit... When this got announced, I was furious. I was like, we just got fucking rickrolled because everyone was speculating, oh, we're going to get a crossover at Image. There's going to be DC and Marvel characters coming over to Image. What? Your face is going to melt off.
Technically, the last page, you kind of...
Yes. However,
never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
Seriously, I thought we were gonna get rickrolled with this. Then I actually read it. Thank you to someone who did give us an advance copy for this. I really appreciate you. So anyways, going through a second read, I still really enjoyed it. Another kind of perspective shift that I have on it was there was this article that came out that was like, this is going to be the next Watchmen. It is not. Do not go into reading crossover thinking that this is the next Watchmen.
Because Stegman said that.
It is not that whatsoever. However, I really enjoy it. I think that it's going to do big things for the Image universe.
Thank you, Vivi.
Yeah. Grant Morrison, he fails just as much as Scott Snyder does. I'm not a big fan of Scott Snyder, so whatever.
Again, there's writers who have big ideas that can convey them, and Grant Morrison's one of those ones who will go out into the desert, take some shrooms, and then come back and be like, I have a Superman story.
Well, I don't think that everyone has to do that. I think that's
but he's just one of those guys who like.
I think that the time for experimental stories like that in DC and Marvel are almost over. But I do think that this is going to be a fun, big Image event because we do get to see, like, one of the characters is wearing an Invincible shirt in crossover. So I think that Image is having fun with this book, and that's my perspective, is that it's going to be fun. I don't know if it's going to be like, melt your face off or whatever, but I do think it's just going to be fun, and I'm here for the ride.
Okay, this book
8 out of 5. 8 out of 5 for 10 for me.
This book is so meta contextuality, like all over the place, that it's a detriment to it. The characters for me are all fucking unlikable. Like, Ellie is not likable. Her fucking Otto, the dude working in the comic store, which of course every comic clerk I've been around in my existence has been kind of a dick.
Hey, well, maybe, yes.
My existence.
But, yes,
My
I was going to say, as a former comic clerk, I have seen it, yes. I tried to be opposite, and I have been around so many great ones, especially now that I'm here in Oregon. And, like, there's a lot of shops where I think that you do get that. You do get the, like, ornery clerks, and then you do get the ones that just go over and above and beyond. But,
like, the fact he's wearing a Frederick Wortham was right. Sure, there's the Wortham quote in the beginning. And then, like, you have this weird take on me scene with the girl from the fucking comic book. I'm just like, what the fuck is the point of this book? Like, fucking for real. Like, but I will say that's the best Jeff Shaw's art has looked.
Do you think that has to do with the colors?
It might. Well, Jeff Shaw's stuff's usually pretty colorful, but for some reason the other stuff I've read of his, like, just didn't work out for me. Oh, John, you're didn't get the much WAP out of it. Thank you.
You know, it's WAP or bust. Like, either you're like here with WAP, if you're right here, or below, you know, it's DAP, DOP, WAP, whatever it is.
I was excited for this book, and then I sat there. I'm like, yeah, like, characters mean a lot. Like, it matters a lot to me. Like, if I can't hook onto one character, and I think that's what happened with Mercy, I fucking hated every one of them, and it just did not work for me. And then they start, like, showing, like, their version of the Westboro Baptist Church with, like, God hates capes.
I think that I appreciated the story because of that, because I think that they, not that the Westboro Baptist Church needs to be made to look ridiculous, because they're doing that on their own. However, in the same way, I know that we've talked about Department of Truth, and how, for me, Department of Truth, the first issue was more about setting up the world, and then the second issue was about setting up the characters. I think that's what Crossover is doing, is that we're seeing the world being built in the first issue, and I think the second issue, the next issue, is going to be about really building us the characters, and we're going to find so really quickly, because I think that we did get a little bit ahead, for anyone who did not read Crossover, and basically what it's about is that in what was it, Denver or somewhere,
or Boulder, Colorado. It was Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. So basically what happened is, all of a sudden, Denver, Colorado. This huge event happens where basically comic book characters cross over into our world. And when that happens, it basically creates a bunch of stuff. There's in Utah, there's one of the last comic book stores, and basically comic books are illegal, and there are people protesting outside of this one last comic book store. Come to find out, there's one of these people who crossed over, and you can tell that they crossed over from a comic book world into our world, because they have this, I don't know if you can see it here, but the coloring where it's like dotted coloring. I think that there's a name for it. So anyways, this character crosses over, and they want to probably go ahead and kill her because, you know, whatever, she's a threat. So, I really enjoy this. If you say John's come from a comic, you're doing it wrong. Lady Fantastic. This week was a WAP week for me. Like, this was a good week for comics from, like, the 4 that I've gotten a chance to read. And
also, Lady Fantastic, I meant to shout you out on the Steve Orlando show because you had some great stuff in chat.
So thank you for being here for chat again.
Hello, poor Mike. Thank you for your comments on the Dune over that you left. I appreciate it greatly. yes, Vivi, it is that.
Yes, it is. And DAP is dry. So, you know, Ben Shapiro's wife.
I don't know if he stayed for the whole thing, Lady Fantastic, but Steve said he's going to come back again to talk Killman. He said it's his gay angry book.
Gangry.
Angry. Yeah, crossover for me was a 5.
Ooh. 8, at least an 8 for me. 8.5. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's going to go fun places. Not necessarily that like Image doesn't do that. And I think that it's, I would say that it's going to be more like Black Hammer than it's going to be like Watchmen.
What means whack ass pants? Oh boy. Oh.
Alrighty, what's your next pick?
So I feel weird even mentioning this one because it's so Batman 102. Tinian started a new post-Joker War kind of story with a new character because he's just throwing characters out there called Ghostmaker. I kind of enjoyed this issue because it was a little bit hyper-violent. And then you add in, we have flashbacks of Bruce training when he was younger. And for some reason, I'm a sucker for those stories.
Oh,
but he's
like
also
origin story. At least it's not an origin story.
It's a training thing, but he's a fuckboy in this. He's fuckboy Bruce, we're gonna call him. So they're stealing from Cable a little bit.
They're stealing from my idea, which is Batman Year 18, Barely Legal, where Batman is a total fuckboy.
And there's another guy who's the younger Ghostmaker, and like they're competing for senseis, basically people to teach them.
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Basically, and they're like, "You could have him if you can beat me." I'm just like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, they're gonna bring it outside.
That's not in this one. There is no pearl necklace. There's a couple of stabbings. A little slow knife.
Slow knife penetrates the shield.
So after all that Joker fucking nonsense, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I'm probably at about 7.5 on this.
Okay. It sounds like you'd be more like an 8.5 base, but you know, that's probably with the perspective of all of the other Batman stuff and all the other DC stuff. So
like I'm a huge Batman fan. I hated Tom King's run. I've made no secret of it.
Yeah.
The Tinian stuff I've enjoyed a lot more, but the leaning on Joker as a crutch for storytelling has kind of gotten old for me.
Leave Joker alone.
And as Todd says, like Detective Comics, I've enjoyed the writing by Tomasi. I've always liked Tomasi's writing. The art on it's been hit and run sometimes where I've liked it. I haven't liked it. There's been some kind of down stories, but I'll always buy Batman except for Tom King's run because I quit. Also, there's an ad at the end that like triggered me where it's for punchline number 1. It says, "Get to know DC's breakout character of 2020." I was just like, are we calling it like breakout?
So that was actually one of the things that I think that I bought from Andrew from Comic Book Campaign because he had punchline number 1 on there, and I'm like, you know what? Just I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get punchline.
You're the joke.
I am the joke and she's the punchline, or is she the joke and I'm the punchline? I forget at this point. But that's right. I'm the joke. She's the punchline. That's right. So I'm the joke for wasting my money on this, but I'm still going to do it anyways. I do it for the audience because I know they love to see me miserable reading these books, and I'm just going to go into it thinking like, this isn't going to be it'll be a fun book, but it's going to be miserable. So who knows?
You did it all for the nookie.
I did. for the lols, for the gram, and now for the YouTubes and for the Patreons. So
Jokes on us.
joke is on us. So, if you, maybe what I'll do is for my Patreon, I'll do like a live react of Punchline on my Patreon for, you folks at home. For as little as $2, you can support a girl in Portland, Oregon, reading stuff.
Yes, I guess it's technically a hate read, Mike.
Yeah.
Jen and I did months of hate reading, and I know, I swore I was gonna stop, and then, Mercy, I was just I'm committed for some reason. I need to see what's going on. Will it redeem itself?
So, and then, how about masochistic comic readings on OnlyFans? I'm 100% here for it, because I will also post full Monty pictures of Dr. Manhattan on OnlyFans. Maybe we'll get some Brian Azzarello Batwang on there.
I've got an even better idea. What if you shrink the window of when you're streaming to be right where Dr. Manhattan's cock will be? So then they're focused on it.
Always. WAP.
Whack ass penis that you can change.
Whack ass penis. Watchman ass penis on. John, I'm so sorry if your kids are still watching. Kate and Charlie, I apologize to both of you. Let this be a cautionary tale. Doctor, yeah. Yes. So, thank you for the 9 people still in the chat. To kind of, okay, good. I'm really glad that you're no longer paying attention. I appreciate that. So, like I said, for as little as $2, you can find me on Patreon. I have some plans that I just need to get out there, that I'm trying to wrap up. So there's some cool things that I'm doing. Please, like I said, little as $2, you can find me on Patreon.
I feel like this is the story of all our viewers. They lost interest long ago.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for being here. We talk about weird ass stuff here, weird ass products, weird ass whatever. But we're here. Let's read Punchline together and whatever. So I think it's probably
we could do a dramatic reenactment reading of it.
Oh, we could. Let me do a regular ass reading, and then we'll do
after my performance during the Dune over the other night,
yeah. Oh, you're right. I've actually, little known fact, I've actually done 2 community theater plays. So I'm ready for the big time here.
I'm not saying I was Shakespeare doing Paul's speech to Janus, but I was pretty damn close.
Yeah, it was good.
Shakespeare was
especially that it was the. Yeah, pretty much.
Sid was not impressed.
So I have one last comic book that I read for this week, and that is going to be, of fucking course, Transformers, My Little Pony. So when my partner went to go pick up my comics for me, and he's like, yeah, Nick was like, hey, why is this right? Did Jennifer get Transformers My Little Pony? And he's like, yeah. Yep. And here's the thing, is because after reading stuff like Mercy, and after reading stuff like Scumbag and Batman 3 Jokers, this is the perfect palate cleanser, and it's amazing. It's friendship in disguise. This one was the last issue of its regrettably short run. I may just go ahead and start my career in My Little Pony Transformers fan fiction, because it's amazing. I cannot wait to pick up this in trade and read it 1,000 times again, because it was so good. It's so wholesome. Clean, because I get enough dirty stuff. But this one,
I feel bad that I even have to ask, because I can just see you with weird fanfic.
So here's the thing for our viewers, and we've been asked before, how Dan and I started doing live streams together, and our first live stream was actually talking about Dune, specifically the sci-fi series. So the first interaction that we really had, and I was on that show, towards the end of the stream, I was like, what's the Dune porn parody is going to look like? And as soon as it came out of my mouth, I'm like, Dan doesn't know this side of me. Like, Dan probably thinks that I am a nice person, and now it's almost a year later, and I don't know if you know this, but I don't know, maybe I'm a nice person, but so anyways, if you haven't learned by now that, like, who I am, so you don't have to worry about asking, because that's totally my brand.
The sad part is that I had an answer right away to the porn parody for Dune.
What was
Poon.
it? Poon.
Poon. Yeah.
See, I would have gone with dong. Because then there's all the sandworm jokes that you can make, and calling a big one, water discipline. So anyways,
well,
so
the planet's dry, you got to get it wet.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. So anyways, Transformers My Little Pony is extremely wholesome and not exactly like that, but I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I cannot wait to pick up this trade. So thinking about, more than likely when this trade is going to come out is within the next month, maybe Christmas gifts, maybe for the preteen in your life who enjoys comic books, maybe, or for the weathered old hag of a 30-something-year-old filthy-minded person who needs a palate cleanser every now and then. It's for all of us. Comics are for everyone.
What an endorsement.
Yeah, it's friendship in disguise. So 100%, 10 out of 10 for this entire series. I'm glad I'm still amusing at this point. So
for me, Web of Venom, Empire's End, which I'm not gonna lie, I did not like Empire's End, but this leads into the whatever Black King thing, or whatever the fuck Donny Cates is calling his big Venom event. This was basically Alien, but done with symbiotes.
Okay.
And it was entertaining because it was kind of like a suspense kind of book. Sort of. Again, it's aping Alien completely. Maybe they're getting us ready for Alien. Ooh. I don't know.
Especially with those Alien crossovers coming in January, right?
Yes. It's Skrulls, it's Kree, it's Null riding the back of a giant fucking symbiote pterodactyl, and he's coming. And they keep saying he's coming. It was entertaining. Like, it was something I wasn't, like, actively looking for. I was like, let me read this shit. Null's on the cover. And I was like, oh, wasn't bad. Like, 7. That's where I'm at. Like, it was... it had some decent, like, symbiote possession scenes. There was some death. There was some brutality. It was a little death metal.
Here's where, like, my perspective is, and I don't necessarily, like, I'm not reading Venom. I'm not going to probably read it. But my perspective on things like that is that you shouldn't, those things can be really, really good. But when it comes to storylines that like that in comics, it's like we've seen these storylines before. Like, that's kind of my perspective, is that we've kind of seen it before. We've seen every iteration of, let's try to push it, and let's do like metal and death metal, and let's do like King Venom and King in Black and whatever. Like, let's try to push the envelope a little bit. And, you know, sometimes it ends up just being a middling story, and that's okay.
There's also a book that came out this week that I don't understand why it exists. The Wolverine Black, White, and Blood.
You know, I almost picked that up because I'm like, okay, it's a #1 issue. Even if I don't read it, even if I don't give a shit about it, I could probably sell it like a month from now for like double or triple of the cover price. But I'm like, eh.
It was kind of boring. There's a lot of blood. Of course, it was
white and red.
Basically,
Wolverine.
That's what it was. Everything was black and white, so the red just kept popping on the page.
So original.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, very, very original. Boy, I swear Batman did the black and white thing years ago. But, you know, it's Batman. He does everything.
Yeah.
So looking at next week's books, I had posted already on Instagram in the stories yesterday that Getting It Together #2 comes out. I couldn't be more excited. It's 4-issue series apparently.
You said 4-issue?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that would be, to be honest, I think that would be perfect because it gives us enough time to get invested in the characters, invested in characters that are literally doing nothing but complaining about their drama, but without, I don't want to see like issue 4, it be like, here's this big drama event, and then it just go on and on. 4 issues is probably going to be perfect.
Yeah, like, so Todd, my thing with the Wolverine black and white and red and blood or whatever the fuck you want to call it, the creators they had on it weren't really standout-ish. Like, usually, at least the Batman black and white, they had creators you either haven't seen in a while or you want to see, like, you know, Paul Dini from the animated series was writing some of it. Like, they brought back Neil Adams for a minute. Stuff like that. So there is literally like nothing coming out from Image next week.
I when I was going through like my
Kick-Ass Hit Girl is the only one I'm kind of on the fence about.
I was kind of on the fence about it too, and during my big book buying binge, which I go on a lot of those. Speaking of which, Powell's, my big bookstore around me, they opened up there because they have rooms like, you know, this is the science fiction room and this is the poetry room and whatever, because it's a like 3-story bookstore that's a city block wide, and they only had several rooms open. Well, they opened up a couple more rooms, and one of those was the big graphic novel room. And of course, I had to go out and get some Thai food. So I went to a Thai food place nearby, and they were open. Their graphic novel section was open. Of course, I went on another book buying binge and bought a couple more books. But anyways, when I was doing my big book buying binges over the summer, I bought like all of the Kick-Ass stories with the new Kick-Ass, as well as like all of the Hit Girls. And I managed to not really read most of them. Like they were like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Do we really need it?
Probably not. Hellboy and the BPRD, the Seven Wives Club comes out, and I'm mainly into it for one reason: Adam Hughes' art and cover.
One reason and one reason only. Not 7 reasons for like the 7 wives.
Also, True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys National Anthem #2, because Becky Cloonan does the B variant. So I will always buy Cloonan.
Yeah.
Miskatonic from Aftershock, I will pick it up just for the Lovecraft vibe of it. I don't pick up many Aftershock books for some reason. Like, they don't really make my radar very much.
I feel like Aftershock is kind of hit or miss. And is Lonely Receiver, is that Aftershock? Or because Lonely Receiver came out this week, and that was the only thing that came out that I wanted to pick up, and then I was a dum and didn't put it on.
Aftershock.
I was a dum. I didn't put it on my pull list, so I didn't get it. I may go ahead and read it digitally because Lonely Receiver has been such a good book. I highly recommend it. So don't be a dum like me. If you like something and you go to your comic book shop regularly, put something on your pull list, because then you're going to miss stuff, and that sucks.
Marvel, it's a lot of Amazing Spider-Man. Excalibur #14.
And Marauders #15.
Marauders 15, yes. And Marvel Zombies Resurrection. Savage Avengers. Star Wars Darth Vader #7, which issue 6 was very good and was hot. Strange Academy #5. I still love this series. Really, really like it. There is a Taskmaster comic coming out, so just for being Taskmaster in it, I will end up buying it. Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 2 with a Byrne direct market variant. John Byrne is a artist that I can classify as a hero and a villain.
Yeah.
There's also a Stuart Immonen cover on it also. I'm sure John will be covering it in his Omnibus show. They're also giving one away from the raffle, which I got 2 raffle entries this last week. because I got issues wasn't there, so like usually they can hit the keyboard way faster than I can. Wolverine number 7, I am really looking forward to. Especially with more Wolverine with Solemn. There is a Nolan variant where it's Wolverine with drinking what looks to be a beer with a reflection of his skull with the mask on in the beer. Really cool looking cover, and the A cover is actually not bad. There is a Daughterman Phoenix variant. And X-Men number 4, first first Brotherhood of Evil Mutants facsimile edition.
I will probably be picking up as many copies of that as I can.
Boom Studios Alienated trade paperback comes out, so I might actually pick that up because I have not read that.
It was really good. If John is still in the comments, I know John was like digging that series too. I'm a really big fan of Simon Spurrier, whatever. He did a fantastic job with that series. It's very not that I want to say like young adult focus, but I feel like it would be once again a really good maybe gift for like young adults, but then also just readers like me who like wacky stuff, because it was good, but it was wacky.
Also, we have Once and Future Volume 2 out in trade, which that is a highly recommended pickup from me.
Mm-hmm.
I know John would probably agree as well. And Seven Secrets number 4, I know you're not into it, but there is a very nice Friesen variant.
Have we learned what the secrets are other than the lady was pregnant in the first one? That's all I remember, is that like...
The suitcase has something called secrets in it. Don't know what it is.
Okay.
We only find them when they're dead, number 3.
Okay. That one I am cautiously optimistic on, because the first issue was pretty good. But we didn't learn a lot. I don't feel like we learned enough in the second issue, so maybe I'm just like not hate reading this, but meh reading this one, because I'm optimistic.
Get it? American Ronin number 2. I read issue 1 and I kind of enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Blade Runner 2019. I hate love thing with that. I like that it exists, but at the same time, it's been kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Dune House Atreides number 1, second printing.
Ooh, I would still probably, if I can get a hold of that second printing, 100% would get it, because I need all the covers apparently.
I really like this cover. It shows an older Duke. Does not say who the artist is on it.
I think that we would. Are you saying like an older Duke Leto?
I don't know which Duke.
Ooh.
Got the beard.
We'll see. That Atreides beard, that hawk-like features.
Yes, as Sid constantly reminds us about. Looking to see what else is coming out, because every time I scroll down this, they're the worst with like actually listing the individual. Like,
is that the preview site?
Yeah. Something is Killing the Children, number 9, second printing.
Okay. Every time that happens, I'm like, wait, did number 9 already come out? And I'm like, oh, it's second printing. Which is, I mean, I get it that Something is Killing the Children is such a hot series, but it blows my mind that a series like that gets like second and third printings on like issue 9. That's so weird to me.
It's gonna be a week for us next week. Like indie wise, there's barely anything.
Yeah.
American Vampire 1976 number 2 comes out. If for no other reason, there is a variant by Francesco Francavilla.
Oh, man, I did not enjoy that, but I might spend dumb bitch money on a Francavilla cover.
And Dark Knight Death Metal Infinite Hours Extreme number 1. It has a Raphael Grandpa Lobo variant, 1 in 25, so I already know where Gambit's money is going to be going. Yeah.
I might buy it just for the entertainment value. I don't know.
Detective Comics 1030. There's a Liber Mayho variant I'm always down for. Green Lantern Season 2 by Green Lantern writer Grant Morrison. Punchline special one shot. Thank God it's a one shot. Thank God it's a one shot. I thought for sure this was going to be
I think that
new metal.
what
Every white man that's got dreads.
I'm here for like folk metal. I'm here for I'm here for all the metals. But I think that DC needs to, because they're going to be doing their future state stuff. Like, I'm not sure about how much they're going to wrap up now. So I'm kind of glad that Punchline is a one shot, but still.
Wonder Woman has been killing it with their cardstock variants. Another fantastic Josh Middleton cover.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just been killing it. And for the people in the trade market, Forever People Jack Kirby trade paperback comes out. That's $30. And then for the people who like Y the Last Men, Compendium #1 comes out in trade paperback at $60.
Woo, big boy.
Trade paperback. So the only thing I can think of is if it's the size of like the Saga one.
Are you talking about the $50 Saga one?
Yeah, so that's size-wise, I think that's in my head what I'm trying to like think it might be.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. I did go ahead and like I have obviously like all of the single issues. I have all of the trade paperbacks. I have that like trade paperback omnibus.
Yes.
However, the only thing that I don't have is like the big hardcover omnibuses, like the big editions, and I feel like that's something that I need to own because they're beautiful.
I've actually started kind of picking up like hardcovers of stuff, so I could just have like multiple trades in one.
Yeah, I feel like trades are typically what I like. If I have one, like I'll give it as a gift. Like I've given Saga #1 or Saga Volume 1 as a gift so many times. I like to have 2 or 3 volumes of it just because I can give it as a gift.
So that is next week's releases. Again, it's going to be a little week. And for those cinephiles out there, the 4K and Blu-ray edition of Tenet comes out. Well, it goes on pre-order. It comes out in December, but it's on pre-order on the 10th. And I can't wait to actually finally watch it because I wanted to see it in the theaters because I thought it was a theater experience, but COVID, and then I didn't get to see the Dune teaser because I really wanted to see that. I hope they put the Dune trailer in it so I can watch that before it's
That would actually be kind of fun to be able to watch the DVD and then watch that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch that because I keep hearing like it's a great mindfuck movie, like most Christopher Nolan movies. So like I'm in it for it, and really there's nothing else coming out. Although they said Wonder Woman's coming out Hell or High Water in December.
We will see. I actually I don't know. We'll see. I don't have it actually. One of the theaters that's near me, one of the only ones that was open, is closed now, I think. So
they opened up the one local to me, but I'm still kind of iffy about it. Like it has to be something like I have to see in the theater to get me to go. So like Dune would have done it. I would like in a bubble.
Yeah. To be completely honest, because I read Wonder Woman 1984, the comic, and since that was supposed to be a tie-in with the movie, and I hated it so much. I did not enjoy it. So after reading that and thinking that if the Wonder Woman movie gives me any type of feelings like that, I'm not excited about seeing it in theater now. Want.
Yeah, again, I enjoyed the first one, so like I know you're completely down for the Snyder cut. Like that's why you got HBO Max, so you can sit and watch all of its drab color palettes.
No.
I mean, I just want them to have all 3 Batmans together. So I just hear, so that's how you do that. I don't know. I'm going in. I just want the Christian Bale voice back again.
Yeah.
I want it as like a Waze directions voice. Turn right now. Honestly, if a studio had balls, they'd start snorting coke right now, just like the Game of Thrones writers did.
Game of Thrones is a whole nother story that I don't want to. That's a tragedy there.
That should be the tagline. A movie's so good it's worth dying for.
Dying for. Not just worth dying for, but possibly infecting you and others.
Ooh, I got it. They put Dune out. Come get infected with terrible purpose, possibly more.
Ooh, infected with terrible COVID or terrible, I don't know, something. But yeah, that's a good one.
But if the theater near me was doing what yours did, like $99, you can rent it out by yourself. Like I would totally probably do that.
That was AMC theaters, so it sounded like I don't have an AMC theater.
I don't have an AMC theater.
I have like a whatever the theater is.
Regal?
We've got a Regal. Okay, cool. So we'll see. Some weird peanut. I get just random comments from the peanut gallery. Not the peanut gallery. I don't know.
Oh no, he's your IMDb.
You
know that dude in the movie?
Yo, seriously though, homeboy, like we can be watching something and he can hear a voice for 2 seconds and be like, that's so-and-so. That's so-and-so. Like, it's a gift, and it's weird. It's weird.
I love when I start talking movies, and Sid goes, shh. I don't do movies. Like, just I don't get what you're saying. I was like, it's kind of like Louise from Bob's Burgers. Stop talking.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to wrap up pretty early today. So,
yeah.
Kind of like comics and no movies to really talk about because we didn't have movies to review.
I'm trying to think if I watched any movies recently. I haven't watched any movies, but I have been loving Star Trek Discovery. Love it so much. I love it so much. Seriously, it's going places, going boldly, and I love it.
Oh, the pull from TKO came out or comes out this week. You can order it directly through them, but go support our friend of the show now, Steve Orlando. Fucking great guy. A lot to talk about. And if you haven't watched our show from that spotlight, go take a watch, listen. Yes, it gets political. Yes, it talks about gender politics, diversity.
Here's my hold up. I'm gonna give a caveat to that. That's not political.
No. When we talked about the art guy and
okay, because I was gonna say
we talked politics, gender.
Okay.
Well, okay, gender politics. Well, I guess it was more about him as a queer man with what was supposed to represent.
100%. So, just as a caveat, someone's sexuality, someone's gender identity, that's not politics. That's someone's life. It's not political. It's not based on opinion. It is someone's life, and it is fact.
I always heard called gender politics. I get anyway, yes. So
we talked about great things, and it was an amazing show. Like seriously, go back and watch the replay. It was really good.
Yeah. Also, like Jen coined the phrase "gangry," and I also kind of put her on the spot having to pitch Batman Year 18.
100. I was like, I'm gonna be on my best behavior. I'm not gonna talk about all this filthy shit to him. And so he was gracious, and I don't know, maybe he was gracious. I don't know. But seriously, I'm once again here to pitch Batman Year 18 Barely Legal. Let's do it.
I'm not sure if John's clapping about what we talked about or you just correcting me. It could be a little of both. Could be all of it. Anyway, like it was a very informative episode. Like really I honestly will say I think it's the best episode we've done. It was good enough that Gambit kind of congratulated me afterwards.
It's the best show we've done so far because our next book club, we're going to have Neil Gaiman on, and it's going to be the best show that we've done.
You better get on that because I can't keep pulling magic out of my hat. Like
I'm just going to talk it into existence. So, and I know, like Neil Gaiman, I know you watch the show. Just join us, okay?
I'm just waiting for Jonathan Hickman to go, like, pop up going, hey, not every book is east of west. Like, knock it off.
Okay, if every comic book is an east of west that you write, then why do you fucking write east of west into everything? It's not my fault. You have a style, Jonathan Hickman. And let's go ahead and talk about the Hickman dump.
It's not called the Hickman dump. Stop it. Oh no, like I still have like a nightmare that like Mars is gonna come on. She's like, I brought Tom King with me, and she's like, all right, here we go.
Let's do it. You know what? Here's what I would say is that if we get TK, if we get TK on the show, then we can get Mr. RR on the show, and I can talk about all the dumb shit all day, every day.
Oh, do you want to see how fast Sid would be like, I'm on the show? Like,
yeah.
Should we just... So, Jen, what was that about you saying that Black Science was an alliteration of him cheating on his wife?
You tell me. You write characters like that and that feel really real, and I don't know.
That was the hottest of hot takes I've ever heard.
That was. I'm not going to say that I'm ashamed of it. Maybe I said it in anger because I still kind of stick by it because it just feels like you're making me want to sympathize with a character who cheated on his wife. Like, what are you trying to tell me, Rick Remender?
Do what Oasis told us to do. Don't look back in anger.
I look forward in anger. Always.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us on a very special LongBox Paradox. It's the more you know. Knowing's half the battle. We don't have a shooting star that will shoot across here or anything.
Pew, pew, just finger guns. Pew, pew.
It would just be Batman riding a unicorn with his dong hanging out.
There you go. That's the alternate version of Transformers My Little Pony. That's my Transformers My Little Pony fan fiction.
Just the Wonder Twins turning into dirty shit.
There you go. The stuff writes itself. The stuff writes itself.
So take care. Join us next Saturday for another LongBox Paradox. And if you're into Dune or want to learn about the universe of Dune, we have a playlist for the Dune over. And we are almost to the last third of the book. And it's flying by.
Spoiler alert, it's about to get real spicy. See what I did there? It wasn't very clever at all, but it's about to get spicy, people.
It was punny. Thank you, Hack or Hawk. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Hack. Very much appreciate the kind words and the support from everybody who comes and comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do all those things that I always feel uncomfortable asking people to do. But most of all, enjoy your day and enjoy, hopefully, the stress of the election being passed or almost passed.
Called.
And whether you like or don't like the candidate, try to respect the position and just hope for the best.
Or, I hear what I have to say. I know that we're about to end. I am 100% okay with the results, but I'm also here to be a thorn in the side of this administration because we're going to get some shit done. We're going to get, in my opinion, we're going to get kids out of cages. That needs to happen on day one. We're doing a COVID task force. Like, I'm here to get shit done. Sorry, but not sorry.
Anyway, take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.